Hi, I'm Heidi Kroner, and I'm here today with two students from Aspire Academy. They're sisters, Becca and Elizabeth. And Becca and Elizabeth are in high school, and they have been going to reading tutoring since they have been little kids. And one of the things that happened one day, we were out in the kitchen just talking about reading experiences, and they were talking about their past tutoring experiences, and it just made my heart ache. And they really feel like the Orton-Gillingham that they've gotten over the last year here at Aspire has really made all the difference. So I just wanted to have Becca and Elizabeth talk about their tutoring experiences that they've had while they were children.
I remember this one place we were taught how to memorize the alphabet backwards basically, which is okay for some reasons, but for my sister and I, we get our letters flipped around, so M's and N's, M's and W's, B's and D's, C's and S's, especially for me. Not knowing the words and the sounds that go with it made it struggle a whole lot harder for me. But when I do the Wilson, they teach you the different sounds that go to each letter, and that for me has helped me not flip my letters around, and I'm reading more clearly now, and I understand everything that I'm reading.
So my first experience with being tutored, you could say, was we were little kids, and our mom put us in a program to help us with our reading. And what they did was put us in very small, table with sides and then walls around us, and we had to read for 15 minutes, by ourselves, to read something, and then write down our answers, and then we'd start all over again and do it again and again until our time was up for the day. And this was happening every single day for 3 hours a day.
And did you have any instruction that was teaching you how to become a better reader while you were reading those worksheets?
I had no contact with anybody else in the area. Nobody came over and helped me. Nobody coached me on what I was supposed to do. Nobody told me how to answer the questions better ways or read certain words better ways or to slow down and understand the sentences and the words.
So one thing too, Elizabeth, that you were talking about earlier was, although some of the things may have helped you read a little bit better, you felt like you still weren't comprehending what you're reading. Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah. It was even after I read paragraph after paragraph, I still wouldn't understand it. Yeah, I read this whole thing and I felt so proud. But when they asked me a question, I just made it up right on the spot because I didn't understand anything that I was reading. They didn't tell me, oh, well, let's take this step by step and break it down in paragraph where I can understand it. They just said, well, no, that answer's wrong. Do it again. And I basically did that over and over and over again.
So you were talking about, so Becca and Elizabeth each have their own tutor, and they tutor individually. But last week, one of their tutors was on vacation, so they group tutored. And talk about how you feel your tutors have individualized the Orton-Gillingham program when they're teaching you Wilson. How do they do it a little bit differently for you, Becca, versus Elizabeth because of your different skills?
So my tutor was the one that was gone, and I had to go with M's tutor, and her tutor and her have linked, so they know each other's weaknesses and their strengths. So they work on their weaknesses, but they also work along with their strengths, and they put 2 and 2 together. So in their binders, there's each syllable has a card, and then M is a drawer, so she'll draw a picture so that it links in her brain how to say the word and what word goes with it. But for me, I'm more understanding when I write it down. So in my notebook, there's just line pieces of paper, and she tells me the syllable type, you could say, and I write it down. And then we do all of the breaking down the syllables and breaking down the letters and what each letter says. And with M, we had to tap out the words. When we first started learning, that's what we did. and Em still has to do it, but for me, it was almost weird because me and Jenny don't do it ever, and Em and her tutor do it, so it was like an eye-opening experience to see how Em learns versus how I learn, and like you could see the difference because I never actually saw it, but seeing it laid out, it was like, wow.
So that's the really nice thing about Orton-Gillingham tutoring is it's a method, and everybody is learning the same steps, but each tutor has the ability to tailor it to their exact student's needs and their exact student's learning profile. And what I was amazed about the day that we were talking in the kitchen about your early tutoring experiences is the lack of direct one-on-one instruction that you guys got when you went to different tutoring centers, and that they were just placed in rooms, where with Orton-Gillingham, you are directly instructed and you're taught the science of how to read, the sounds that are associated with every letter, and how to stop the reversals and the flips. And you're directly instructed on how do we break apart this story or this paragraph and really understand what's going on in it.
Yeah.
And that's really the beauty of the Orton-Gillingham method, is it teaches the science, it's direct one-on-one instruction, and then as the tutor gets to know the student, they can personalize it even more for that student's strengths, weaknesses, and learning preferences. Do you guys have anything else you want to say today?
I've seen a lot, like I've seen a huge improvement compared to like where I was at when I was little versus now. I kind of wish I did this like sooner rather than my senior year of high school, but I completely noticed a whole change. Like I'm understanding more and more. I'm reading with my grade level. I'm understanding the context and the clues and stuff like that. So it's been a huge help.
Awesome.
Yeah. I used to be very afraid of reading in front of my class. I used to be very open to it, very excited about doing it, but I was nervous because I knew that I didn't read well, and I knew that I would make mistakes, like bad mistakes, and I'd skip whole sentences, and I'd just be very nervous. So I would tell my teacher to not pick me, and they'd always pick me, and I'd just be like, oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? But now I'm the first kid in the class to raise their hand and be ready to read, like be open to, like, I'm open to my mistakes now. Like I know that I'm working on them, and I know that a lot of people make mistakes. I know my friend came up to me one day and told me she had dyslexia, and I was like, oh my gosh, we understand each other. And so it was like an eye-opening, and it makes it a lot easier to read in front of people and understand it and like know that they're not gonna make fun of us or something like that.
And I think the biggest reason I opened Aspire Academy and helped other centers open Wilson clinics is because I really truly believe this program works. I love the direct instruction, and I really thank Elizabeth and Becca today for coming and being so brave to do this in front of everybody, and hopefully you'll share it if you found this helpful. Thank you.